Jason, it's great seeing you, man, because the last time I saw you was in London, CCMAs. How was that for you, man? Because it was so good to be, for me, to be back with people, to see you, to see everybody. Saw that quick little performance you guys did in the hallway and
Oh yeah,
everything. And
that's right.
it was
Yeah,
so cool. And it was really cool because we did it before Ontario shut down again.
that's
So,
right.
how was it for you,
Yeah.
man?
GCMAs was a blast. I mean, just to get back to see everybody again after well, it felt like 10 years, but it was 2 long years, man. And like way too long after seeing everybody. And it was so great. It felt so good. It felt like it was, a little bit back to normal. So it was great.
Yeah, and normal is what we were talking about before the camera started because we're still in February. We here in Ontario just had ourselves a bit of a snowstorm in southern Ontario that I had to get up
Yeah.
early to shovel. You were just telling me, man, you got a storm coming or happening?
It's happening right now. Like the roads are washing out. We're having rain. It's like 10 degrees.
Oh,
It's supposed to drop down to like -10 tonight. So it's going to be a flash freeze. It's going to be a mess. So
oh.
this is our winter. This year's been crazy everywhere, man. It's the weather's brutal this year.
It
So
has
it's
been.
so it's kind of good that we're not, touring and getting on the road because I wouldn't want to be, trying to get through freak weather storms, with snow and rainstorms out of the blue, right?
No, no, no. But at least the cool
Crazy.
thing is, man, you're still releasing music, which is what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
Congratulations on this new single. But before we
Thank
even
you.
get to that, though, man, how difficult has it been for you, or has it been difficult? I know we were talking before, it was before the CCMA dinner.
Mhm.
And we were having a conversation before we all had to go in and get to our tables. And we were talking about new music. You mentioned to me that there was going to be something coming, which is why we were doing this interview. And I think I talked to you about this briefly, but how difficult has it been to record music during this pandemic? What kind of like little things did you have to do to get things done?
The thing of it is, recording music, it's actually not difficult. It's the
Oh,
same idea like with yourself when it comes to, it's easier to record a Zoom rather than having to run and carry all your gear and try to go. It's the same idea basically. Everybody in who's a professional musician in this business has their own home recording studio now, so they can
yeah.
record like incredible quality recordings right at home. So this is basically how this album was made. This track that I've
Oh,
released now, and the whole album. So I mean, you send at the end of the day, you end up sending the tracks down to Nashville to get mixed and mastered and stuff anyway. So it's really it's a digital world, man. It's just the times we're in that we're able to do stuff like this. We don't have to be together in the same room anymore. Sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing. So I mean, it works on both levels, right? Because it's always nice to be in the room with people too when you're recording, just to get the vibe. And sometimes it works. That vibe comes across on record of recordings a little bit better. But I mean, man, I don't know if, of many artists that who actually all get in the same room, unless you have like an actual band, like you're a traveling band together all the time, who actually get this together in the same room and record albums anymore. It's all digital now. So
just curious though, most people have been using their closet as their sound booth with the microphone. Have you done the same thing yourself?
for me, it's bunk beds. Bunk beds work really well.
Oh, I have to,
I,
honest to God, I think I'm going to do an interview with everybody and just
yeah.
get all their little secrets and what they did during
Yeah.
COVID to get this out. I love that, man. So cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just curious though, too, and something else I was asking to folks during the pandemic. Has your songwriting stories changed because of the pandemic? Because the world was very, very different in 2019 to what it
Yeah.
is today.
100%. I mean, like I don't know if you listen to the new track, "Devil in a Bottle." I mean, even that, um, to me, it harkens back to an earlier time in country music, and it's a modern take on traditional country, neo-traditional country that I grew up with. And I mean, through the pandemic, I mean, myself and many artists I know that just had time to really focus and dial in their sound and where they really wanted to go. Because I mean, if one thing the pandemic taught us is that life is short, and we don't have, we don't have forever on this earth to to do stuff. So I mean, like, why not do it now, right? So I'm like, I basically took the the classic upbringing that I've had with regards to music, and and kind of made it my own twist on it and modernized it in my own way. Because I mean, I produced this new single and the new album myself. So thank you. So I mean, it just it allowed for allowed for so much that normally, at normal times wouldn't allow for, if that makes sense. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This pandemic. So it was definitely out of the ordinary, and kind of a situation. But I mean, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So you had to do it. Everybody did it the best way they could, and I'm extremely happy with this album. I'm so excited to get it out to the world. So
What do you think it is, though, man? Because it's funny you say that you went to this old school classic style. I know during the pandemic, I don't know how many old school songs and stuff that I downloaded or
yeah,
I was listening to. I wasn't really listening to anything sort of new in a certain way, but there was just something for me. And agree or disagree, I just found that during the pandemic, as much as I enjoy new music, there was a
yeah,
comfort of that old style, and it kind of sounds like you kind of combine the
yeah.
two, the old school comfort sound with new music.
Yeah, and 100%, man. I mean, when you gave me goosebumps when you said that, because I did the exact same thing. I mean, I ended up getting a record player, a new record player,
Ah,
and an amp, and I just, I dove in, and I bought a bunch of old vinyls,
love it.
and I started listening. And blew, man, I can't tell you how inspirational that was, and literally those. I mean, the songs that I probably heard a million times anyway, but like when you hear them in that context, and in the original way that were meant to be heard, it's just something that just gives a little bit of a spark and a little bit of a little bit something else. I think a little more soul maybe shines through, and man, I'm telling you, that was so inspirational for me for this new album, because I didn't even at the time. It's not like I was listening to stuff to try to find, you know, what do I want this album to sound like. It's like it wasn't like that. It's basically, it all kind of fell into place like dominoes. Like I this was before I even thought about producing the album. I mean, we were listening to those songs, and all kinds of, like Steve Earle and the band, and like Waylon Jennings old stuff, and Hank Williams Jr. I love, and I mean, those guys were for this album were actually a huge inspiration for me, for the sound, just for the grit, for the, there's because there's a way to do traditional country. There's a few different ways to do traditional country music, but I knew that I wanted it to be a little more edgy, and like kind of like Steve Earle,
Yeah,
and like the Outlaws. Like they did it, but they had the electric guitar, and then it just gave it a bit more of a, they put a bit more stank on it, like a lot of us say. So I knew I wanted to have, I wanted to do something that harkened back to those old country songs that you could just sit down and play with the guitar, but still have a bit of outlaw in the background of that. You know what I mean? So, and that's, it's funny how it all came together. It just ended up coming together really nicely for the album.
okay, I know you mentioned the song earlier, but let's make this part official. I love to do this. What is the name of the new single, and lyrically, what is that song about?
It's called "Devil in a Bottle," and actually, this song was written with a good buddy of mine. Actually, we two of us co-wrote the whole album basically. But we just, when we first sat down writing these songs, we hadn't planned even on releasing them. To tell the truth, we sat down because we love country music, and we love those kind of songs, and we just wanted to write stuff for fun. We just wanted to sit down. We literally, whenever we had a chance, we'd sit down together and have a few drinks, have a few beer, a few whiskey, and we'd bang out these tunes that we had fun to write. We had a ball writing these songs,
Wow.
and there's a certain genuine kind of side to the music when stuff like that happens, right? We didn't you know we didn't really sit down and look at the business side of it. We were just having fun. We wanted to write write songs that that anybody would want to sit around at a kitchen table or a campfire with a guitar and just play and have fun and everyone sing along to. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's what we were. That was the focus when we wrote this out. The whole album was like that. So
I
yeah.
love it, man. Is the album out right now?
No, actually, I keep saying the album because initially it was recorded to be released as an album. But what we're doing is um, very soon, within the next month or so, we're going to be releasing the first EP, and then
Oh, yeah.
then later in the year we'll release the second EP, and then we'll release two of them together as a physical album on vinyl and on CD. So
I was gonna
I'm
ask you if there was
really
gonna be any
excited. Yeah,
vinyl happening, man. I
yeah,
love
yeah, man.
that.
Yeah,
As things
yeah,
are opening
definitely.
up here in Ontario and of course across Canada, um, it looks like shows are kicking back in, man. What is going to be happening with you, tour wise, show wise? Will we be getting you down here in Ontario? Any talks with Boots and Hearts or anything like that?
Um, we're we're definitely planning a tour right now. I haven't done a headlining tour since I began my career
Wow.
across Canada. So that's something we're planning right now, and I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, I've got a load of new music. There's still tons of old, fan favorites that people love. So I've got more than a full show to be able to, to give to everybody. And it's time. It just feels like it's time after, after COVID and everyone staying, cooped up in the house for the last 2 years. It's time to get out there and do a full tour, and that's definitely what we're doing. Some festival dates coming up too, and those will be posted, but I can't say all the dates right now, but those are coming up soon. So yeah, it's all in the works. It's just probably midsummer before we release the dates on those tours.
Brother, I remember when we did our first interview, which was audio. We were standing in a sort of stairwell
Yeah, yeah,
in Toronto, and
yeah.
I can't remember what the bar's name was, but I remember we did the interview. I still have the pictures for it and everything. I still have the interview. This was probably about now, we're looking at 6, 7 years ago, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, you have come such a long way with
It's
such
been crazy,
success. If we could just jump back 7 years, though, what advice would you give yourself back then? If you could meet up with yourself, what advice would you give yourself of what you know now?
Wow, that's hard because like as like even like with the style of music today, I don't think I wouldn't change anything in regards to this type of music I've released or
Mhm.
this the music that I've done. Um, because everything has its own time and its own place when it comes to that stuff. So I feel like I'm really happy with the music I released, but if anything, I'd probably tell myself just to, relax and, and take it slow and and not be such a, don't be enjoy the ride more than, live in the moment a little bit more and enjoy the moments because, sometimes the moments, those moments are all unique. I mean, I know you're on a stage, it probably feels, to somebody else, you might think that it's just a regular stage and you're on a stage every night, but man, I mean, all those audience members are, you only get that feeling once in that place at that time. And you know I remember that I did, really take in some moments, but I wish I would have taken in a little more,
I hear you, brother. I hear
yeah.
you. Look, congrats on this new single. Looking forward for the album. Just looking forward to everything you're doing, man. Crossing fingers
Thank you.
that you will be here in Ontario. So we just got to watch, pay attention, social media, website, everything else too. But
Yep.
man, like I said, just so happy for you. Congratulations on all of the success.
Thanks so much, Rudy, buddy. I really appreciate your support over the years too. This is it's been a pleasure to get to know you.